A very good day to all of you. My name is Karan Sajnani and I run a cybersecurity firm called RUDRA, which is part of the Preventia group of companies. I hope that you all have been well during this quarantine, and I'm out here today to talk to you about keeping basic digital hygiene during this pandemic. Since this crisis of COVID-19 has gripped the world, there's been a spike in the number of cases of digital theft, scams, hacks, and we're going to explore the reason behind this, and we're also going to look at some basic steps that we can take to mitigate this. Just as we know that nowadays, when we wash our hands regularly, we drastically reduce the chances of either contracting the virus or spreading it. Similarly, by keeping certain basic measures of digital hygiene, you can save yourself and those around you a lot of inconvenience. So, since this crisis has gripped our planet, the way we do things has changed, right? The way we work, we're working from home. I'm working from home right now. The way we shop, the way we socialize, we don't hang out in person anymore. We hang out in apps like House Party or Zoom, for example. The way we even buy our groceries has changed. So, the way cyber criminals conduct their activities has also shifted and changed a bit. We're going to talk about that with a few live examples of cases that have happened in the past few weeks. And like I said, we're going to look at what we can do to mitigate this. All right. So let's start out with what's changed. Scams and phishing have been happening since time immemorial. Perhaps a million or more attempts a day on any given day. So what's different now? Well, first of all, the environment has completely changed. With work from home happening, almost all of the financial transactions that happen completely online, and that's nothing new, but they happen online with limited telephonic or physical contact between both parties. So, party A sends money to party B, and probably there was just an email or a message before that to initiate this transaction. There's a lot of room in the middle for loopholes and scams. We'll come to that later. So work from home has been a big change in the environment. The second thing is that there has been a sort of widespread anxiety that has gripped the population since this crisis has happened. What is the coronavirus? Where are we going from here? How is this quarantine going to end? There's so many questions that we have that have not been answered, and that leaves us vulnerable to receiving information, even from credible sources. Something with the credibility of the WHO, for example. If you just look at this email that appears to be from the WHO, let me just pull it up for your viewing purpose. Yep, there we are. It says, "Dear Sir slash Madam, go through the attached document on safety measures regarding the spread of coronavirus. This little measure can save you." And there's an attachment that you can click on and download, and presumably with a script or a macro attached to it that installs malware on your system. So you see what's happening out here. This little measure can save you is the key line out there. People are afraid for their lives, and uh, these criminals have kind of leveraged that vulnerability to get them to take an action, such as installing malware. There are plenty of examples of this, but that's another change in the condition right now. If there's a widespread panic and anxiety that has kind of gripped the population, and that has made us susceptible to receiving information, links, data from anywhere. And even when you have a credible source such as this, WHO, obviously that mail was not from the WHO themselves. There is only one official WHO, that is who.int. So you get an email from who.com, who.org, whatever it is. In all likelihood, it's fake. It's a scam. Okay. And the third thing during this time that makes it ripe for scams is there is a genuine need for donations. Those of us who are privileged and who have roofs over our heads and food on the table, we need to donate money to those who don't have all of these resources and who are facing a tough time during this crisis. And in order to facilitate these funds moving, the government and plenty of charitable institutions have set up bank accounts and UPI IDs to make these transactions seamless, and so that we can get money to those who need it quickly. But unfortunately, with this ease of use also comes the potential for abuse. Take, for example, the PM Cares Fund. That was set up some time back, and the UPI ID PM Cares at SBI is the official UPI ID. And within hours, there were a whole bunch of fake UPI IDs like PM Care at SBI. Just missing that one S makes all the difference. Instead of your money going to someone who needs it, it's going into the hands of a criminal. So that one S that you forgot to put at the end of the UPI ID could mean the world of a difference for you and for someone who needed that money. So yeah, the necessity for donations is also a big change in this time. Another thing is that people have considerably more free time at home. So, to kill time, we often spend time on our devices. We try out new apps, click on links or memes that our friends send us. I know it's really hard to prevent against those sort of things, but do try not to install apps that are not absolutely necessary. In fact, one of the first malware that came to light during the coronavirus crisis was this app that promised to show the spread of coronavirus around the world, and it was complete malware. It had the whole list of things on it. It had a keylogger, it had a credential stealer, it was stealing hashes, it was stealing contacts, forwarding itself to your contacts, the usual stuff. So be careful what kind of apps you install. Today there are a number of apps on the market for all platforms: Windows, Android, Mac, Linux. All of these coronavirus apps, just don't install it on your phone. Okay, get your information from authorized sources such as the WHO or your local government yeah, health the authorized healthcare body of your government. What else? Yeah, at the moment, authorities are working at their maximum capacity. So it's pretty unlikely that there will be extra resources diverted to chasing down a digital thief or a hacker. It's really difficult also during these times of social distancing to go forth and catch someone of this sort. So there's limited. There is a limitation in terms of what we can do to catch these sort of miscreants at this point of time. Uh, and the fourth thing is that the entire world is faced by one single crisis right now. That gives con artists a huge advantage, because when you conduct a phishing scam, you need to identify your target audience. It's just like an advertising campaign. One scam is not going to hit everyone, because people have different mindsets. But right now, we all have this one unified mindset, and Corona is on our minds. So it becomes a lot easier for to design a single phishing scam to hit the entire global population at this point, which is why we need to be careful and inoculate ourselves against falling prey to these sort of scams. So let's look at a few examples now of what's happened. We already looked at the WHO plague and prevention control email saying go to the attachment on safety measures regarding the spreading of coronavirus. This little measure can save you. So you download that file, it installs malware on your computer, it perhaps sends the same email to everyone in your address book. So there you go. You've not just harmed yourself, you've harmed all those around you, your friends, colleagues, family. Yeah, people are in need of money as well right now. There are a lot of people who are struggling financially, and there have been messages, emails, and SMSs such as this saying that the government has decided to provide you with tax rebates and a relief fund. So please click on this link to claim your relief fund. And excuse me, on that link, there's a form. It asks you for your financial and tax credentials, and there you go. You know how that's going to end. All right. So now let's take a look at some of the measures that we can take to ensure this sort of proper digital hygiene. What are the simple steps that we can do so that we can protect ourselves and those around us? Now, I know a lot of our viewers may think that these scams were simple and that there's no way we could fall prey to it. But believe me when I tell you that everyone, all systems, and all humans have their own vulnerabilities, and when you push the right buttons in the right order, you can make people take decisions that they wouldn't ordinarily take. So, some basic stuff out here. Always look, for example, at the domain name of a site that you're browsing. Make sure that near that HTTP you see that HTTPS with the green lock, or whatever symbol it is that your browser provides. saying that it is an encrypted channel, especially when you're transacting funds. When you receive emails, please look at the domain name. Like I said, who.int is the only WHO official site. who.com is wrong. who.org is also not the official one. And even when you do get an email from an official domain, there are ways we can spoof those kind of things. Please cross check it, especially if it asks for funds or if it asks for sensitive data. If you're making a financial transaction, make sure that you check and double check the destination address of where your money is going. If that's a bank account, it's fairly easy to do, but with UPI IDs, not so easy, because the nature of UPI allows you to create an arbitrary number of UPI IDs, which can be destroyed or edited. So please go to the official website that has provided that ID, cross check, okay? Make sure your money is going exactly where you want it to go. The second thing is, don't ever get pushed into a feeling of urgency. You may receive SMSs or text messages from people who are very close to you, like your nearest of family, or perhaps your boss or a friend, asking you to send or forward an SMS OTP or a security token. Don't do that. Okay. When you try to call them, they may not answer. They may just cut the call and say it's urgent, please send it. Whatever it is, don't get tricked into doing this. It's a classic scam where these guys just create a feeling of urgency and they make you take bad decisions on the spot. So if you're faced with a crisis like this, the best thing to do would be to somehow telephonically verify it with the other person. Like, look, do you really need this OTP? Is it for real? 95% of the time it's going to be no. But just to ensure yourself against that balance 5%, do make an effort and call them up, ask them, is this really necessary? But yeah, don't, whatever it is, this may come in a number of forms. Don't ever fall prey to that feeling of urgency. Yeah. The third thing you could do is, especially if you own or run an organization, your fund transfer policies and your procedures, you may want to look at reworking that, because when everybody's in an office and all together, these things work differently. But now that everyone's working from home, you may want to perhaps put another authentication stage before funds can move. It may cost you a few minutes of your employees' time, but in comparison to the potential losses, that's not too bad. And lastly, if something does happen and you realize that you've fallen prey to such a scam, the best thing to do is just stay calm. The first thing you got to do is immediately change your passwords or your credentials of whatever you feel was compromised. If that was your banking password or if it's your UPI code, stay calm, immediately change it. Chances are that you will mitigate the attack that was carried out against you. If you feel it's gone out of hand, or even if you manage to mitigate it, you need to immediately report this to the nearest authorities. Call the police. Reporting these scams basically just means that you probably save somebody else the trouble. So don't let it go ignored. Even if you're affected and you've lost a lot, please report it. We all have to help each other during this time, because as I said, authorities are also limited in what they can do at this point, given the amount of work that they have on their hands. Containing a population of over 1 billion people is no joke at all, and I'm sure they already have more than their hands full. So let's do our part here and behave responsibly with good digital hygiene habits. Please feel free to write to us if you feel that anything of this sort has happened, and if you'd like to know more about how to prevent these things from happening. Now, not everybody has the privilege of watching videos like this and having this sort of a technical or a logical mindset. So do spread awareness to those around you. Perhaps your domestic help or anybody else who you think may fall prey to such a scam but may not have access to platforms like this where such videos are out. So you could do your bit in helping someone out. Now it's a tough time for everyone, emotionally, financially, and the last thing we need is a scam or a hack to make things worse. So stay safe, stay at home, try to make the most of your time, and thank you.